motion to approve the minutes for September 27th.
So moved.
Have a motion? Second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimous. Mr. Kranis, you're on.
Thank you, ma'am. I appreciate that.
Sorry.
We all good? Okay.
Sorry again.
Just a couple of quick things under the director's report. On page 30, you'll see August, we were off from the prior August, about 6.4%. This is the second month that we've been down compared to prior year. For the 3 months of summer, June, July, August, we were actually up about $2,500. So we were just barely beat last summer if you took the June month in. But July was a very active month last year, and August was better than typical. I think somebody had mentioned Artemis launch attempts happened starting in August, so that helped a little bit. So. We'll see if this is a trend. We'll have to kind of keep a close eye on things. I'm estimating September will also be off a little bit. We're tracking about 1.5 million in the latest, looking at the STR numbers. And last September was 1.589, so it was a pretty strong September as Septembers go. We're used to seeing September being a little bit of a dip, but I think we'll be a little bit off there, and then we'll see where October lines up. On the next page, actually next 2 pages, this is our final budget report for the year, and I just wanted to point out, it's a point of pride for me. I always like to make sure we get our marketing dollars spent and allocated as close as possible to the budget number. If you look at the first section under promotions advertising, the budget for last year was 12.129 or 12.13, and we're landing at 12.06, and that's only because about $60,000 in invoices didn't come in yet, so we're still waiting for those, but we would have landed pretty much right on the button, which is a pretty amazing thing now that we're, that size budget. So I think we're doing well. As we go into next year, just some thinking for the council. We think we're going to land at 25.6 million total revenue this year. So that's should be pretty close to that. Our budget for next year is 27 million. So one of the things I'm going to do in the marketing budget is we're going to hold back dollars until we know we get further along in the year, and make sure that we're going to end at 27. But I think 27, it's certainly a stretch goal based on seeing the softening right now. But everything can flip around in the springtime, and we could be great. So I'm not going to be a negative Nelly at this point. I'm just going to be cautiously optimistic and make sure that we budget accordingly, so we're not getting ahead of ourselves in terms of the spending. So that, Madam Chair, that's my report, and if you'd like, I can go into item 3.
Yes, sir.
Sure.
If I could just make one interesting comment, I'm going to check, but I actually think the zoo's numbers track exactly these month over month in terms of what we're up last year versus down this year. That's why I was just fascinated.
Yeah.
I'll get the percentages, but the months were better than last year and the months were down, which I never thought we'd be that tied to tourism, but I'll confirm. But it's really fascinating. If we're seeing the exact same pattern, I'm wondering who else is seeing it too.
What percentage of your base is tourists?
Typically, it's 45%.
Okay, so
but
it's almost
that's enough
half.
of the variation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I'll get the numbers just so I can report to you. But the same months up, same months down. Unfortunately, September was down, but October looks like it's going to just hit it for last year. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, so moving to item 3. So as you recall, last month we had voted regarding the sports and cultural committees. If you'd watched the last board meeting, couple board meetings, we did not move forward with the marketing event grants. So what I would ask is if this council would just move to rescind our changes to the operating procedures manual and just go back to having a sports and cultural committees, and then we can pick up, there's 2 final grants that we didn't execute this year. The second cycle of the sports grants, and then the major event grants are still kind of in limbo. So if, Madam Chair, if somebody wouldn't mind
Madam
moving for that, and
Yes, I'd like to make the motion, please, to rescind our last vote to disengage with the Sports and the Cultural Committee and to reactivate the Sports and Cultural Committee.
Second it.
Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Sorry, go ahead.
okay, thank you. And then committee reports. I don't have a lengthy report for marketing, but I have a piece of good news for our office. We have hired a person by the name of Laura Beebe, who will be starting in the next week or two. She comes to us from the Gulf Shores, Alabama Gulf Shores Convention and Visitors Bureau. She's been their marketing director for last 10 years or so, and she and her husband were looking to relocate further south, and has family in the area. And after going through a pretty lengthy search process, well over 120 plus resumes, she rose to the top and agreed and accepted our position. And so she'll be starting very soon. So hopefully at the next meeting, we will have her present.
What was her name again? Sorry, Peter.
Laura Beebe. It's Beebe, 1 E at the end. 2 E's in the front and 1 E at the end.
Thank you.
And then capital facilities, I think everybody saw at the board meeting, 2 of the 3 items were approved. The $5 million for the Police Hall of Fame, and then the 300 plus, I don't remember the exact number, but the 300 plus thousand for Valiant got approved. And then the Palm Bay Sacrifice Park was asked to bring back some additional information. So I know they're working with the county attorney right now on that, so that should probably come back a little bit later, but at least those 2 were moved forward. So there won't be any further capital committee meetings until we get into our next cycle.
Can you clarify on the other grants that were approved, they're now moving forward?
Yeah, so basically the next steps are contracting, and so we're in that process with them now. Obviously, the Valiant project has already broken ground, so they'll be able to activate pretty quickly. The Police Hall of Fame, in order to get, it was $1 million for a year for 5 years. In order to activate that, they have to have a groundbreaking, so they're still probably a little bit away from that, but hopefully that would happen in the next year. So, yes, Candace?
Not sure if that's Mike McGarry on the line or not.
Okay. So the next one was the beach committee. We had Mike McGarry was going to give a quick update. If he's on line, we can have him give a report. If not, I can give the report. So we'll see. Mike, are you there? Can you hear us?
Yes, I had to get unmuted. I am here.
Mike, the floor is yours. If you give us, if you could give us a quick update on your projects.
Yes, we've had good news after a rough summer last year. The Hurricanes Ian and Nicole a year ago did significant damage, but in the last month or so, we finally locked in federal funding to re-nourish our mid-reach and south reach. So in total, that's almost 12 miles of beach between the Piney Causeway and Spessart Holland Park. That's going to be almost $50 million at 100% federal cost share to re-nourish that 12 miles of shoreline. It's going to take them 2 years because of the extent of the work. So starting in a month or so, they will nourish between November of 23 and April of 24, they'll nourish from Piney Causeway down to more or less the middle of the town of Indian Harbor Beach. And then the following winter, they'll nourish the rest of it. So that was a big victory to secure. Like I said, it's almost $50 million and no local match is required for that. We do have some local match budgeted because if there's a cost overrun or they need a little more sand, we may have to pay our share. But in the meantime, it was a significant financial victory to get the federal government to commit that 100% funding. And then in the South Beaches, that's from Spencer Holland South, the Dune project, which we finished about 2/3 of it last winter. We'll start that again just after Thanksgiving and finish by the coming spring. We've got about another $8 million worth of sand to put down in there, and then later have vegetation planned for that area, dune vegetation, COs, etc. The other exciting news is in that South Beaches area where we built dunes last year, we've smashed the all-time green turtle nesting record. I don't have the exact number, but it's on the order of 23,000 green turtle nests in that southern 14 miles of Brevard County. So that's really nice. We maintain the beaches both for tourists and turtles, so it's exciting that that all-time green turtle nesting record has been smashed on dunes we take care of. So I will leave it at that unless there's questions.
Thanks, Mike. Great report. Yeah, a couple of things to tag on. The match that would have happened if the Army Corps had come to us was $8 million. So that's $8 million that basically stays in that budget and can be used for if we have other storms coming or other emergencies. Those are funds that if you recall, we had to pull about $10 million out because of all the storm damage. So that was money that can go back into that fund and hopefully be there. We don't have another beach committee scheduled for this year, but once the new cycle happens, as we get into the next year's TDC, that'll be a question for the beach committee. Will be IRL grants, should they come back, should we have those again next year. So we'll have some funds in there that we could potentially do that. Obviously, that would be up to the TDC and the board to kind of look at that and decide. But that's good news from Mike on us not having to come to the table with that match up front. And then the other money that he mentioned for the South Beaches, that $8 million had already been budgeted from last year, so that was just money we carried forward. We knew we weren't going to get that whole project done, so we carried forward what we needed for that, so we've got money in there for that project.
What last time we figured out, what is the target?
Peter, could I add, I'm sorry to interrupt, but just the South Beaches project, we're working vigorously to get FEMA eligibility for that. I think it will happen, so ideally we'll get a significant reimbursement from FEMA, but it'll be 2 to 3 years out. And that's no different than we told you a year ago, but I want you to know we are working on that.
Yeah, no, that's really critical because we can get that money back in future years. That'll help with other projects.
Mike, it's Keith. What is the reserve amount we targeted, and where do we stand now? It sounds like we're in a little better shape than we thought. I know that our reserves are deeply impacted. What are we trying to get to, and where are we?
All the numbers that Mike just threw out, he just got these, so he and I have not reconvened. We had $10 million in reserve last year, and we pulled all of that out for the South Beaches project, which was due to the storm damage. Now that we know that we aren't going to have to put in the $8 million for the Midreach project, we're going to have to reconvene and look at that, and we'll bring that back to the TDC at a future meeting. But we will, certainly we'll have some money in there. I don't think it'll be $10 million, but we might have $7 or $8 million back in that budget. So.
It also sounds like we might want to increase that reserve for the future since we depleted it.
Well, the thing that I worry about as we look at future years is just the cost of these projects is getting bigger and bigger. So, yeah, we're just going to have to really do some analysis and figure out, the cost of sand, the cost of hauling, the construction costs everything's much higher than it used to be, so. And then, Madam Chair, the only other committee mentions I'll make is now that sports and cultural are back, we'll be sending out notifications to the committees to reconvene. Our goal would be to bring those two grants that I mentioned back to the TDC on our November 15th meeting, which, by the way, is at the zoo, not here. So if you're coming next time, just remember November 15th at the zoo. So we'll bring those items back and hopefully convene on those. And I think that's it from a committee perspective, Madam Chair.
Thank you, sir, and we'll wait and see what other mess the commissioners can make for you guys down the road. I have no public comment cards, so Mr. Boucher, do you have any reports?
No, ma'am, there's no beach committee meetings scheduled until next year, probably.
Okay, thank you. How's business going? Good?
Going good, thank you.
Okay. Mr. Donatus?
Nothing on my end, thank you.
Okay, and you told me everything's going good where you are as well.
Yes.
Miss Galzarano?
Just, we have a tentative November 8th date for our sports meeting. It hasn't been confirmed yet, but that's all I have.
All right, we got you back in business, huh? Yeah. Mr. Sword,
Nothing else to report?
you come from up north with me from God's country.
That's right.
Yeah. Mr. Winston?
Just want to let you know, this is the last weekend for Boo at the Zoo, and then the weekend after that is Jazzoo. We will sell out our tickets. I think we have about 70 left, so if that's something that's been on your bucket list, buy them today. They'll be sold out by Friday, so.
Wonderful. Miss Andrea Young?
Yes, I just wanted to make a comment. I liked your projection of $27 million for the budget for next year, and I just heard on the radio on the way out here that, people were moving out of New York, and some are moving to Connecticut or Jersey or whatever, and some are moving to Texas. But they said the actual number, 91,000 people moved to Florida. I don't know where in Florida, but I'll bet you there's some of them are going to be coming here, and those that do are all going to have family, which will be coming here to visit as tourists. So you might just see your 27 million.
Hope so.
Absolutely. That's my comment. Thank you.
Mr. Kranz, do you have anything else?
I did not have anything else, but thank you all so much. Appreciate everything. And next week or next month, we'll be at Keith's house. So,
The
thanks.
zoo or his house?
Well, same thing.
Folks, one of the projects the TDC funding has supported in the past is our Africa Loop. We're building Lions now, but we just refreshed the entire base loop that's been there. So if folks want to come early, if you want to come a little early and tour that, we'd love to show you that, so.
You have any baby lions?
We have 3 males, so unless something miraculous happens, it won't be baby lions for a while.
Okay, you guys, thank you for everything. I really appreciate your patience, and I will see you soon. Have a great afternoon. Be safe.
Thank you. Okay.
The opinions expressed by any member of the public during any period of public comment do not necessarily reflect the views or opinions of the Board of County Commissioners of Brevard County, Florida, Space Coast Government Television, or the program sponsor, and are solely those of the presenter. The Board of County Commissioners of Brevard County, Florida, Space Coast Government Television, and the program sponsor hereby expressly disclaim any and all responsibility or liability for any defamatory or slanderous statements expressed by any member of the public during any such period.